Hey everybody, Aaron here, and this is another surprise attack review. 2 days in a row. Holy crap, right? Um, so today we're gonna be looking at Data Live 2, to be exact. So, Data Live season 1, for me, when I first saw it, I saw it in English dub. I did see some of the Japanese dub, and I wasn't. I rather watched it in English at the time because of the sheer fact that I watched it primarily in English the first way through. And if you guys don't know, if I've said it before, I apologize. But for me, when I watch anime, if I watch it in English originally, I then like to follow the second parts or the third parts in English as well. And I'll actually stop. I've done this before. I've had to stop some series because I would watch the first season in English, but then the other two would not come in America or something like that would happen. And lo and behold, would never see it because it's like, well, I watched it in English now. I can't. I don't want to feel. It's the concept of seeing like a favorite character, like in a movie, for example. If you see Daniel Craig, will say, as James Bond, there's a lot of people who love him as James Bond. Now, if you see him switch to another person, which has happened in the Bond movies, of course, before, you get those people that go, well, I like the original guy better. This new guy's cool, but the other guy's was better. It's the concept of that having altercation switch. Like for example, even with Spider-Man, where Spider-Man was originally played by Tobey Maguire, and then went to oh, I forgot that guy's name. The newer guy that did him, Andrew Garfield, I think his name was. He did the second one, and lo and behold, there were a lot of fans who clamored that he was better than the other original one, and then there was some that said the original was better than him. It's just the concept of you having that switch, that role switch, where now instead of putting a face on the person, it's a different face. It's a bit jarring, and I think in anime too, especially if you watch a series in Japanese first and then switch it to English, it's jarring because you're used to hearing a specific type of waveform. You're used to hearing them sound that way, but now them sounding this way kind of gives you a little bit of a jarring feeling. So I was very hesitant to watch Data Live season 2 because it wasn't in English dub. There was no English dub anywhere for it, and it's disappointing because I was hoping that the series would do well because it is one of my favorite harems. I think honestly, it's done. The first season was phenomenal with that, but my friend who is a big anime fan and he's now getting to be a big anime fan. He watched Data Live at my recommendation. He loved it, and what he told me was, "Let's watch the second season." And I told him about the whole Japanese concept and my issue with that. The whole I don't know if I want to hear it in Japanese dub. I've heard it in English. He said, "Whatever, let's just watch it anyway." So he watched it, binged it the one day. It took me, I think, a week to watch it. Or no, it took me no longer than a week. It took me a few weeks. I mean, if you would actually, I binged watched the last 5 episodes last night. But if you would actually take the time, I think it took me maybe 3 weeks to watch it because it was a bit jarring, but also for the sheer fact that Data Live season 2 compared to the first one is really bad. Now let's talk about this is gonna be some spoilers, guys. If you haven't seen the first Data Live, see the first season, I would suggest maybe watching my review of that first, at least to give you some glimpses of what's happening. But our main character Shido has the power that he could seal spirits, or more so, beings that are called spirits. They don't know where they come from per se, but they have immense power, and they're usually all women that are the ones that come down like that. And Shido, for whatever reason, is a human, but has the power to not only heal but also to seal their powers away if he kisses them and does date alive. He has to date them first, get them to trust him, and then he kisses them, and then their powers are sealed forever. Or at least, for the show's concept of forever, because a lot of times characters don't stay without their power very fast. The main concept of the first season was that if you got sealed, you really could not activate your powers again without Shido's kind of permission. But they're kind of, I noticed, diving away from that, where now characters can summon their powers willy nilly. They can just do whatever. Season 2 focuses on a new set of girls that he has to actually control and fit. Make sure he seals them, and also more so a more romantic plot with Toka, which is the first girl he sealed in the first season Data Live. Now, my issue with Data Live, I don't want to spoil too much, but I'll tell you right now that Data Live to me is almost split into two arcs because of the girl switch. You have the first arc being the twins, so you can see right there with the blonde hair, or excuse me, blonde orange hair, and then you have the second arc, which is the girl in the back over there who's got the white hair or silver hair, as you want to call it. And that happens around episode 5 that the season switches, and there's only 10 episodes for season 2, which is very odd to me, but it's 10 episodes long. There is a movie coming out. I know it actually probably came out already, but as far as it being subtitled and all that, we haven't got it yet, and even English dub or Japanese dub, we haven't got anything with that. And my thoughts are almost maybe that's why they're waiting so long for season two to come out in English. Maybe they're kind of putting both the season two and the movie together for us, but I'm not 100% sure. So, excuse me, I'm not 100% sure about that. So I don't entirely know. But I'll say this right now: season two, like I said before, is a lot worse than season one, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, the first arc to me was very, very generic. One thing I loved about Data Live is that even though it's a harem at heart, it's always going to be a harem, because he's sealing the multiple girls and all that, and they do fall in love with him. It really wasn't the primary focus. It was to make a joke of that, I should say. That's what I want to say. Almost like High School DxD, where even though it is a harem, it knows what it wants to be, and it knows how to joke you with everything that's thrown at you. So, oh, our main character has to deal with all these girls, but he's not an idiot, so he knows that they like him, etc., etc. And Cheeto is like that in the first season very strongly. He knows that the girls like him. He knows that he is the center of attention because he's dating the girls. He's trying to, at least for the sealing process. Oh, and by the way, this show, if it reminds you of a lot of the world only God knows, it does remind me a lot of that too. So I don't feel bad if you ever say, "Oh, aren't those shows very like?" They are very like in the concept, at least. But, anyways, I digress. Arc 1 is not that great. Arc 2, however, I think is a lot better when you have a whole different character. She is a lot more of a stronger character per se, at least in the onset. It doesn't solely focus on her in the second arc. Then it focuses on a kind of rescue mission where Shido has to save Toka from the group DEM, I think they're called, where they are now holding her hostage because they want to steal her powers and cause this huge onset. And you learn some concept that Shido might not be fully human. He might actually not even exist per se. It might be like a character that he might have made into a being. We're not 100% sure, so that's not really spoiling anything because it's not really revealed per se. But overall, though, Data Live Season 2, like I said, is not an improvement. It's actually a digression. It goes away from what made Season 1 so great with having the kind of jokey elements, but also the cool action sequences and, I want to say the better way of the way they handled the girls and dating elements and stuff like that. Now, look at our second arc for Data Live Season 2, more so the last like 3 episodes were amazing. I actually really, it saved the show for me. I'm being 100% honest with you. A lot of action, a lot of nice storytelling, a little bit of ending because of the sheer fact that they're going to make the movie for it. But it does have that ending where it's just like, here it is, end. That's the show end right there. But overall, though, I think this show could have done a lot of things differently, where it could have took the same stuff as the first season and just ran with it again, and it would have still been an amazing show. I understand that the concept you have to make the show different because you can't just make a copy and paste of a show. That'd be stupid too. But I feel like this show might have been done better having a little more of a copy and paste feel than doing what they did with this. I just think that it falters flat a lot in the first arc, and while it picks up speed again in the second part, a lot of people will not forgive it for that reason. I know a lot of anime fans who will watch the first few episodes and do almost what I did and almost kind of just give up on it. Now, I'll be honest with you, because I review anime, I don't give up on a show. I watch it to completion. It might take me, like I said, a few extra weeks, but I will finish it because I have started it. And like anything else, at least my personal thing, this is kind of a little thing for you guys to understand about me, I don't give up. I've always been known that even facing, like, if we're playing a video game or if I'm doing something in real life and, something is really at odds against me and I have, like, no chance in heck to win, I won't give up. I will play my hardest. I will do my hardest until I lose. I want to see that lose factor, not because, I gave up, so I'll never know if I could have won or if I could have pulled it back. So when I watch anime, I kind of have the same feeling that I want to watch it to completion because sometimes anime does is save itself toward the end. It really does. And that was my phone, by the way, going off. I apologize. But yeah, it's the concept of just you have to finish a show. You must finish it to fully understand. You can't review a show successfully if you watch only the first 2 episodes and then you just dead stop the rest of it. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, if I had to review Data Live Season 2, take a reminder that it's got some good action toward the end, but very meh action in the beginning. It's got an okay plot in the beginning again, but gets better toward the end. The animation's about the same as before, so that's a good thing because the animation was spectacular before. Characters are very diverse looking. They all look very unique for what they are. And the concepts of it are still there, and the music is not as good as season 1, but it's still okay and it still works. I have to give it a C plus, and that hurts me because I really love Date A Live season 1, but season 2 is not that great in my opinion. It really is not. It falters a lot. It does save itself at the end, and really had to think: am I giving it a C plus because it's so good at the end, or am I giving it because I'm just overall? And I say overall, even with its show's flaws in the beginning, it's still a C plus average. It still does its job. It's still a decent show nonetheless, but it's not as good as the first season. And I'll tell you guys right now, I don't know why you would start the second season without watching the first one, but there are some people that do that. I would highly recommend not doing that with this, and watch the first season. But anyways, guys, that's it for today's review. I hope you guys liked it. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out a lot, guys. Trust me. And real quick, I hope you guys like the new avatar. I chose that as it's from Samurai Deeper Co. in case no one noticed it, but I actually have that as my avatar for my Hotmail account, which I still use Hotmail, and I use it for some other stuff. So I figured I use it for this because it kind of represents more so, I guess, my long standing with that image being on other things. I used to use that even on Facebook for a long time. But anyways, guys, enough of that. Until our pass cross again next review, have a good one as always. Bye.